Now, let's look at the Trump administration's response. It seems now there has been this shift over the fatal, in response to the fatal shooting of the weekend. Initially, I don't think they did a very good job. I mean, instantly defending the fatal shooting, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem saying that this protester was committing an act of domestic terrorism. And here's Attorney General Pam Bondi on the news trying to talk tough about this legal letter she sent to Tim Walz. Look at this.
Rape, homicide, manslaughter. That's who they're trying to protect in Minnesota. I do not understand these people. We sent Governor Walz a very strong letter today. We had been working on this letter. We got it out saying that he better support President Trump. He better support the men and women in law enforcement, because if he doesn't, we are. And that's what we're doing right now.
Were there any consequences in this letter?
Well, we'll see. This is fluid. Let's see how Governor Walz responds. Let's see what he does based on this, based on what's happening right now.
We'll see. It's not exactly a message of confidence.
No consequences. I mean, she does a lot of strongly worded letters, but as far as consequences, I mean, there's been criminal behavior going on in Minnesota for weeks now. We haven't seen many consequences. A guy that I interviewed on my program numerous times was almost killed. I don't think there's any consequences for that. A lot of the conservative social media influencers have been there, been attacked, no consequences. So that's the problem with Pam Bondi. A lot of people think that she talks tough on Fox News, but doesn't deliver. Now, Tom Homan, I think, is a guy who delivers and a guy who can maybe try to solve this situation that is so broken. And if the governor is talking to the president, that is a good thing. That's a step in the right direction. The mayor, obviously, is part of the problem as well. He has been absolutely irresponsible in his comments. So there's a lot of blame to go around. But your point about how the initial handling was not good, I think, is on target. They jumped in with some comments that they should have held back on and said, hey, we need to complete our investigation. Yeah. We need to see what happened here, because there's a lot of video angles, as you know. There's always different conflicting versions from witnesses. So it's still in the early stages of the investigation.
Yeah, we are. Look, just back on the media. The media of the weekend was exposed for lying about ICE. Media outlets were quick to kind of parrot Democrats who shared image of a 5-year-old boy named Liam Ramos and claimed that he was detained by ICE while coming home from preschool. But according to the White House, officers were actually staying with this child who was abandoned by his father, who was an illegal from Ecuador. ABC News published the headline, 5-year-old asylum seeker detained as ICE expands enforcement in Minnesota. Axios said ICE's detention of child puts new focus on Trump team's tactics. And of course, Homeland Security wrote on X that ICE did not target a child. The child was abandoned. I mean, how damaging is this when you've got the media kind of spinning these stories?
Well, it's like the media is invested in chaos. I mean, it's like the media wants to see what's going on in the streets of Minneapolis expand across the country. That's what it seems to me, that they run with a story that is inaccurate. They do it time and time again to paint the administration in the worst possible light. So much of what they say is just filled with lies. We're constantly trying to correct the media. And my heart goes out to Caroline Leavitt having to deal with these people in the press in her press briefings, because so many of them are just so biased. So it's a continual problem that we face here in this country with the coverage of this administration. I think the administration is trying the best they can in a very difficult situation. We did have some good news over the first year. About 2.5 million people that were here illegally left. But a lot of those people just self-deported on their own. And that's probably the easiest way to deal with this. Yeah. Encourage people, incentivize them to leave on their own.
Finally, I want to get to the fraud scandal in the US. I mean, just how widespread it is coming to light. The president posted over the weekend that it is actually possible that the total amount of money stolen over the years by corrupt politicians and fraudsters from Minnesota will exceed $100 billion. In any event, whether it is or isn't, the theft, incompetence and fraud is massive. Sadly, whatever numbers we find, California and other Democrat-run states will be worse. Stay tuned. $100 billion. Jeff, do you think we're ever going to really know the true extent of the fraud and how widespread it is in other states?
No. I mean, I think we can make estimates. I think we can try to deal with it as best we can. But This has been going on for decades. It's been going on, I think, all over the country. You know, when Doge came in, when President Trump started, they tried to go after waste, fraud, and abuse, and there was such an outcry. People don't want this solved. And now the administration is seeing it in the states, and hopefully we're going to get a person or a team dedicated in the White House to going after this fraud. Minnesota is horrible, but I think the worst state is California. I think it's going to make what has been going on in Minnesota look like peanuts, because California is such a bigger state, and you've had corrupt officials there for a long time. So this is a real problem. It's one that I think the American people are very outraged about, because you know, we're $38.5 trillion in debt. We'd be in a much better situation if we didn't have all this fraud going on.
Absolutely. Broadcaster and commentator Jeff Crouere, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate your time.
Thanks so much.